would you say to that person who's struggling, who wants to figure out what they're supposed to be doing and how?
What do I say to someone who's struggling? The first thing I would say, based on my experience, of course, one, I highly believe that life is a process of creation. I think a lot of times we want to sit back and ask God, what do I do, or where should I go? And when God speaks to you or gives you ideas, we're not always still enough to listen. So I say to the person who is questioning that, one, the fact that you're questioning means that there is something in you that's brewing. Just listen. Just listen. Like, actually turn down everything else, turn down the family opinions, suggestions everyone else might have for you, and listen. When you're asking, there is an answer already waiting for you, because that means God is creating something through you by the question that's coming. But we have to turn down everything else to be able to listen.
Wow, awesome, awesome. Dr. Wilson?
Yeah, well, just to build on that, there are three things that are important to remind ourselves about. We discover purpose, we don't choose it. But sometimes most of the struggles that we have is spending time in that phase of comparing, and we call it discovery, but we're actually comparing and trying to choose. You don't choose, you discover. So our life in Christ is a purpose or a journey into learning about ourselves, and learning about our capacity in the one whom we have been called to serve. Or in addition to that, we learn about ourselves through our journey and the contribution that we can make to the world that we've been privileged to be in. So shifting the mindset, to know that we are in a journey of discovery, which will continue to unfold. People have a lack of complete trust, which oftentimes is not evident on the surface. And that lack of trust is built from the fear that as I am asking God or looking at the patterns of my life to understand myself better, so can I really have confidence that whatever I find, whatever God reveals to me, would really bring me fulfillment, will bring me flourishing? And that fear keeps us in a place of darkness, even when we know. So Romans 5:8 says, God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were yet still sinners, Christ died for us. Now, for a person that demonstrates such a love and a care, my encouragement will be completely 100% confident in resting in God to direct you and to take that first leap of insight, because there's always that first leap, in the trust that he wouldn't lead you astray. And talking about fulfillment and joy, that will be the flourishing you will receive when you can embrace.
Are there indicators? Are there telltale signs? Are they common to all of these groups? Because I find that you find that some folks feel as if they've been going around in circles, and they're like, is something so weird about me? Am I so different? And then they see someone else who's flourishing, like the two of you who have your businesses. Is something so uniquely different about you or me? Or you have this other person who's sitting down trying to figure out how to start. So I'm deliberately asking this question because I find invariably people compare themselves to others. It is the reality of life. And I want to really zone in on, is there anything peculiar to either of these groups of people as they navigate towards starting, as they navigate towards remapping themselves when they feel that they're stuck and they're so different from everyone else, or the other person who is saying, I want to start, but I don't know how?
So the one phrase that comes to mind is peace be still. And I'm going to use myself to really elaborate on that. In the process of questioning, as we talked about questioning earlier, it's almost this rush, right? You're constantly searching and trying to find something and get some sort of answer. I do believe in the stillness, you get more clarity as to what you're supposed to do. In the situation where you find that you're running around in circles, the challenge becomes, what lesson are you missing? right? What is it that you're learning? I don't believe there are any coincidences with God. I don't believe there are any, accidents. Whatever the situation is, there is something you're picking up along the way.
Oh, wow.
You're not listening to something and you're needing to learn something else. So you might think you're chasing this one situation, but each experience is actually almost patting you up the way a parent would pat you up in the winter, right? Each experience is giving you layers for something where you should be. I do think when you are in the space where you have found that thing, there is a different sort of peace that you feel that will let you know that you have found the space you're supposed to be in. Everything else before that may feel good or exciting, or just give you a nice little flutter, but I think there is a quietness that comes when something is actually where your purpose is, if we're to say that, or where the vision is for your life. Once again, and Sister Frankie, you know this, I had a job with a great oil and gas company. Almost every couple of years there was a promotion. It was a good job, it was fantastic for any way you could look at, but I was restless. I couldn't explain it to everyone, but I knew I was restless. I would wake up and I'm going to work and I'm just like, oh gosh, there was just this constant restlessness because it didn't fit where I was supposed to be. I don't think it fit what my purpose actually was. And no matter what the title was, I just always felt somewhat in the wrong place. When the entrepreneurship bug came on, I began to run around because I would try different things. I knew, I want to be an entrepreneur. Yes, I want to kind of talk to people and advise people, but how do I do it? And I couldn't figure that out. But each little experience, I learned something. I tried a few different businesses. I tried a few different things, while still keeping my job. But I knew that in the process of that running around or feeling like I'm running in circles and looking at other people and saying, wow, they are doing so well. Why can't I figure this out? Or why can't I just be satisfied with where I am, which is a good place, and be okay with it? But it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. It just wasn't. And then I have days like this where I wake up in the morning and as I say my first, gratitude prayer, I literally have a smile because I am like, oh my goodness, I am exactly where I want to be, should have been. This is perfect. Does it mean the business is perfect? No. Does it mean, everything I'm doing? No. But internally, I have listened enough and taken the steps that I was supposed to take to actually say on a regular basis, peace, be still. We are where we are supposed to be. The clients I've worked with, I've seen people in the past year or so that I've worked with them just keep coming back, and the relationships are evolving, and people are like, it's more organic when you are where you are supposed to be, where your purpose is aligned. Any interaction becomes more organic. So hopefully, I think I touched on each single phase.
Awesome. I think you literally just took every piece of the question and you come at beautifully. Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. Thank you so much. And you actually nailed your response the way I actually was hoping that you'll pull it together. Dr. Wilson.
Yes. There are no coincidences with God, with life as a whole. I like that statement from Abii. There's a statement that I like that I had written down here, which is the importance of today in purpose, the importance of today and being present in the moment. And it applies to everyone in search of purpose at any part of the spectrum, any part of the spectrum.
Right.
Wherever we find ourselves, I've seen that it's important to be present. Pay attention to who is around you, what is around you, and do not despise where you are. Because you see, God doesn't use what you don't have in your hand.
Wow.
He doesn't use that. He uses what you have in your hand based on where you are and the situations of your life per time. And if it's true, and I believe so 100%, that where we are born, is not an accident of nature, then we want to be more present. So I see a situation where we will do better for those wanting to discover and for those wanting to grow increasingly in purpose if we stop looking at that next missing piece to get us to the next place and pay attention to the moment and be present. So in a practical sense, doing what you are, where you are, leads you to not only discovering, but to the next place. So for example, when I was concluding my MBA, and I felt in my heart, go do your research for your PhD, I didn't want to do that. I felt, go out there and begin to do something. I see A, I see Y, both in ministry and in the professions, excelling and having tangible things to show. But that was not what I should be doing at the time. When I sit to pray, I will hear the Lord say, go do that research. Now, in obeying that, one of the days I was on my way to the library, and I heard the Lord say, you will have a call. And, I had this call, and the individual said, there's this project that I have for you. I think you should be a part of these, blah, blah, blah. That conversation was perfect as a research base for my doctoral degree, my research study. It was perfect for what I had asked the Lord, which was to be the next phase of my business. It ended up in one of the biggest partnerships that extended one of my companies till date. But I would not, it wasn't evident on the surface that just staying and studying for a research project that isn't putting any kind of money in my pocket or isn't a big ministry name somewhere would lead to any kind of extension.
But I want to wrap up with one question I think is important. To you, Dr. Wilson, to that young, and I'm now speaking to that young lady, that young woman who is trying to glean from someone who is well in her journey. What's that one lesson that you've learned from where you sit now that you feel would be of such value to it? So someone who's starting the journey, who is so eager, who is just yearning to really know how to map her course. What's that one burning lesson that you would like to share?
Yeah, I will say do fully what the opportunities that present themselves with you before you, right where you are, and do it as excellently as you can. There's the adage that says, you can't direct a parked or, a stationary car. You can only direct someone in motion.
Wow.
So
wow.
as you take action with the opportunity, there's that point A, that one thing you're already doing. And, people begin to come along your path to either extend that. And you will see that when you take a step to either do more, two things would happen. You will find out that, oh, this is not for me after doing it a while. And the door's always open to something else more suited. And you've learned something along the way of what is not for you. At other times, that will be the door exactly for you. And then it will be a connector to the next phase. So I would say do excellently well what you have in your hand and observe, what you're already doing and observe the patterns. Watch out for, things that are leading from that, opportunities that are coming alongside those activities. I would also say the same way you can't direct a stationary car is the same way we only build experience by doing. We build experience by doing, and there's something we call experiential knowledge that produces more confidence, more skill, that actually opens our eyes to see that, oh, this is actually what I'm called to do. This is my passion, only because you began to do in the first place. You will notice that there are gaps in your life, so there are things you need to learn. And that's a huge part of purpose. We're not created fully developed in all the seeds of knowledge and giftings inside of us. So when we don't start to use what we have, we're not going to identify what else we need to develop in order to be able to realize our purposes clearer, bigger, and bigger.
Awesome. Awesome. I think one thing that I'll pick on as a nugget as I move on to SNY is you cannot direct a stationary car. What a powerful piece of guidance. To wrap up with this great time together, SNY, I give you the last question as well. To that young person saying, how do I start? Where you sit right now, what's that burning piece of advice that you believe that anyone starting on her purpose journey would actually be blessed by hearing?
I think definitely the Dr. Wilson's comment on taking action is profound. You can question, how do I start? But the answer is not going to fall from the sky. Even when God, as she mentioned, is talking to you or giving you direction, there has to be some motion on your end. I think it's also important to be patient with yourself with that process. So as you're taking action, it is possible that things may not fall in place as you expect them to, or when you expect them to. And try not to pull on those disappointments, especially when you have the conviction that you're moving or your action is towards where your direction is, that the action is towards a particular direction, particular purpose. Don't be disappointed when things don't fall in place exactly how you expect it to, because ultimately it's the building process, right? We're all in the building process. And as you're trying to figure out your purpose, your direction, where you're going to be, end up or whatever, you just have to be patient with yourself in the process. So stay in motion, be patient, because there will be bumps on any road, and keep listening, I'll just give a tidbit of, once again, how this applies to me personally. When I decided that what I was going to do, or the first step in my purpose or in my journey, would be starting a law practice and a real estate business. At the time, I wasn't licensed in Texas because I was only licensed in Maryland, and I decided to take the Texas bar. I decided to take the Texas bar with 2 kids and a full-time job. Probably not the smartest thing to do at that time, because the kids were young. I mean, I think they were 3 and 2 the first time around, or 4 and 3. And I took it and I failed it. And I remember thinking, okay, if this doesn't work out, then that just means that maybe I'm not supposed to have the law practice. But no, because I think the next morning I woke up and I thought, well, we'll just start the law practice as an immigration law practice, because I'm still licensed in a different state. So I noticed that the bug never actually went away. And if I had succumbed to that disappointment, then I wouldn't have gone back to take it again. And I went back, I did it again, and I failed it again. And it was once again like, okay, God, this whole plan is not working out, because I feel like this is the answer of what I'm supposed to be doing, but I failed this exam again. Like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to do it. So I tried to stop. I cried for a couple of days. I woke up again and I was like, you know what? And I say but at the same time, I can tell you that it was this voice. There was something within myself that was like, nah, babe, it's okay. You can fail it. Yes, it's going to teach you how to study better, how to plan better or whatever, but keep going. And that's what I guess to say to anybody else, if you're in the space, even if things don't quite seem to fit as you're asking and you're listening, keep going.
I want to say thank you for your time. I immensely appreciate it. And I hope we will touch base again and have a part B. With that said, thanks a lot and have a great day, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.